Yeah, this is really good testimony. Thank you all for your testimony today. I'm concerned the longer Congress continues to stall, the integrity of college athletes will diminish, and I'm really concerned about that. And student athletes will end up being hurt by the lack of clear standards. I think everyone basically testified to that. We all agree of that on that. So we need to pass a bill as soon as possible, in my opinion. But Dr. Emmert, do you believe the current patchwork of state laws with inconsistent NIL reporting and disclosure requirements threaten the viability and integrity of college athletics?
Well, thank you, Ranking Member. Yes, I believe it most certainly does, predominantly because of the issues that were described earlier around the potential for several things to occur. First, that students are being treated differentially right now across the landscape. They don't know what the rules of engagement are. They don't know what their rights and opportunities are. Secondly, we know that because there's not any enforcement mechanism or clear definitions, some of the arrangements that are being made appear to be moving over toward more of a pay-for-play model aimed solely at recruitment of athletes from one institution to another. That leaves both individual athletes at schools in a disproportionately disadvantaged state, and it also competitively advantages or disadvantages other schools based upon their geography and a variety of other factors. And then the last piece is that as these arrangements move more and more toward institutionally based rather than third-party based, they do, in fact, run the risk of converting student athletes into employees, and all three of those things are very serious threats to college sport.
Thank you very much. Next question is for Ms. McWilliams. As a former college athlete yourself, you have a unique understanding on how student athletes want clear standards and want to maintain the current integrity of collegiate athletics. I believe especially for non-revenue generating sports. If Congress legislates in a manner that changes the current college athletics model, will this impact certain athletes more than others? And do you have thoughts you would want to share on the important distinction between being an employee of a school versus a representative of the school? Ms. McWilliams, please.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Absolutely, I think there will be impact on non-revenue sports. I mean, if you think about the 1,100 schools that exist in the NCAA, only 25 are revenue. Most of our schools, Division II and Division III, we're not even exceeding our expenses each year. So there are concerns. We need to make sure that whatever is put in place, that it's in alignment with our budgets and the resources that we have at our institutions. I'm concerned that if we don't, our schools won't be able to handle and manage the expectations of covering additional health care or covering additional pay and covering all those other things, that's just not what we were designed to do. I also believe that our institution's revenue allows for championships and all the things that we do, football and basketball that you see. I heard our president Livingstone say that those resources support all of our other sports that are competing. And so the distinction between, the employee and the representative, I was given access to an education, and I don't believe that college is defined as employment as a student athlete. I think going to college is a choice and an opportunity that we have, but I think as administrators, we have a responsibility to get the best access and opportunity to succeed. And NIL is a great opportunity for our students to use their name, image, and likeness and to build upon that. And as administrators and leaders, we need to give them the right framework and the opportunity to be successful. We're asking 18-year-olds to manage and be an entrepreneur, asking them to do things and create deals for themselves with no guidelines. And so I think pay for play is a concern for us, but I definitely think the opportunity to help these young people to be successful as student athletes and not employees is in the best interest for college athletics.
Thank you very much. Dr. Livingstone, as more and more college athletes are approached to to receive compensation for their NIL. I know this is already featured in Florida's law, but do you think universities should provide educational tools or classes to help students understand the dynamics of signing contracts and what that means for their future? And can you give us a sense of what you are providing to your student athletes?
Absolutely. It's really critical because this is putting another level of pressure on our student athletes that many of them are not prepared for. In the state law in Texas, it does require 5 hours of financial literacy training, and schools are required to provide that for our student athletes. At Baylor, we have a very comprehensive program in place. Even prior to NIL, we had a program we called Baylor Built that had principles related to career development, leadership development, community service. And we have been added to that now that we have these NIL responsibilities. And so we kind of have 3 pillars in that program. The first one is really a monitoring system and helping students report to us. The Texas law also requires that students report to us what they're doing. And we want to make sure that as they do it, it's in compliance with the state law, with federal law, and make sure that they stay eligible to participate at the NCAA level. So we have to educate on that level. We also have to help them navigate the financial aspects of it and give them that kind of an education, their personal branding. How do you position yourself well? We've got a wonderful program that helps student athletes know how to build their personal profile on social media to actually enhance their value. And then we do a lot of work on financial literacy. We have a program that combines work from our law school, our business school, our entrepreneurship program, where we help students understand what they need to do to get the right legal advice, the right financial advice, and so on to be successful. So we already had a framework for that, and then we've built upon that for NIL. But there are a lot of institutions in this country that do not have the resources to build out that kind of program. I do think it's an opportunity also for there to be some, if there's a national NIL law that provides some consistency in what's expected, then there could also be sort of national educational programs that would be accessible to all institutions regardless of your resource level, and it wouldn't rely as much on the actual resources an individual school had to be able to provide those that support.
Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Very informative. Thank you.